Knowledge is power. Throughout history, we've stored our knowledge in books, and libraries became the central hubs for information. But the internet changed everything. The internet made information more accessible, but also harder to navigate. Search engines like Google helped us find what we were looking for on the vast web. Now, generative AI takes it a step further, transforming how we access and create knowledge. It's like having an assistant at your fingertips, ready to help whenever you need it. But how exactly does this work? Well, generative AI is trained on vast amounts of publicly available information from the internet. It's like the ultimate autocomplete for ideas. It's been trained on things you use every day: YouTube videos, Wikipedia articles, and even social media comments. It's seen just about everything there is to see on the internet. This means it can help generate responses, ideas, and content that are familiar and relevant to you. So when you use AI, you're leveraging a tool that has seen it all. And if you don't get the answer you're looking for, you might just need to tweak your question. Think of it like asking a friend who knows a little bit about everything. Sometimes you just have to find the right way to ask. Now let's explore how you can start using generative AI effectively. Now, when you first get started with AI, you may have important questions like, well, what type of questions should I be asking AI? Or what type of questions should I not ask AI? And most importantly, there's so many different apps and websites out there. Which one is the right AI? These are all valid questions, which is why this will be the focus of our very first video. Now, I've been doing AI since about 2018 when I was creating my own machine learning models. And then I was lucky enough to get in the beta or early access of ChatGPT around 2019 or 2020. And now it's officially been released as a tool for consumers, I believe back in 2022. So again, it's had quite some time to mature now. And I think this is absolutely one of the best tools out there. But it's not the only one. And again, I have my own biases. So I want to make sure that you're aware of all of the tools that are available to you and why you might want to use different ones, especially when, for starters, sometimes one tool may be down. So you definitely need to know of at least one other AI tool that you could use if your favorite's not up and running. But again, it can really boil down to personal preference at this point in time. So we'll take a look at different tools and how you can use all of them in similar ways to get the responses and content that you want or need. So let's start with ChatGPT here. ChatGPT is completely free to use, although there are paid accounts. But as you can see right here on the home screen, I'm not even logged in. You can actually come to chatgpt.com and use this tool completely free. So again, this is free knowledge available to you on the internet. And I do recommend creating your own account. That way you have access to additional features like chat history and many other tools that are just only available to you if you're using an account. But that's a quick look at ChatGPT. We'll come back here. Let's take a look at our next AI tool, which would be Google Gemini. And so Google Gemini is another AI system built by Google, and it does exactly the same thing. It can take pictures, so you can upload pictures and ask questions about those pictures. We can ask questions through text. We can also ask questions using our voice, and Gemini can also talk back to us, or it can actually see our screen if we share our screen. So again, many great ways to interact with these systems, and we'll talk about all of these different modalities in the future. Up next, let's talk about Microsoft Bing, also known as Microsoft Copilot. So anytime you see this symbol here on a Microsoft computer, that's their built-in AI system, Microsoft Copilot. And so Microsoft Copilot is actually built on the exact same technology as ChatGPT, because those two companies, OpenAI and Microsoft, actually have a research agreement. So right now they're sharing all of their research, and this again comes from the fact that ChatGPT just really made a name for itself. They almost came out of nowhere and really created a very powerful tool that, again, even the giants had to acknowledge. But that's a quick look at Copilot. Again, it does all of the same things. We have voice and chat and many other ways to interact. But next, let's take a look at Meta AI. Meta AI is built by Meta, so it's another free AI tool that's available to you, and it can create images, it can make your email sound more professional, and it can even simulate a mock interview. So all of these tools can do this. I don't want you to think that only Meta can do this, but definitely it's at the same caliber as the other tools we've mentioned thus far. Last but not least, there's Llama. And so Llama is Meta's open source AI model, which essentially means do it yourself. The rest of the tools that we've talked about so far, they all ran on the internet. So they're all running on some supercomputer located somewhere. And we're all lucky enough as consumers to use these powerful models through our cell phones, tablets, or laptops. On the other side of that coin, if you have a very powerful computer at home, and I mean really, really, really powerful, so this is like the best gaming PC in the world, essentially, you can actually run Llama and other open source AI models directly on your computer without any internet access at all. There's different reasons why you want to do that, but again, for most people, you'll want to just use the web-based versions of AI. So that's what we'll be focusing on. I just want to highlight again that there is the capability to download models and run them locally on your own machine, but it's definitely something that requires an extremely powerful computer. Let's go back to ChatGPT. So welcome back to ChatGPT. And before we get started here, let's talk about some of the things that we can do with AI. Like exactly what is this tool good for? Luckily enough for us, we do have some shortcuts here at the bottom that give us some examples. So we can create an image, we can summarize text, we can get advice, we can code, we can brainstorm, we can make a plan, and of course, it can also help me write. So these are some of the ways that we can use AI, but again, as we go through our lessons, we'll cover additional capabilities that these systems have because it really does scale up to be something amazing and extremely helpful. Now, for our first example here, let's pretend that my 100th birthday party is coming up. And for this birthday party, I would really like to invite all of my friends and family, but I'm not that much of a good writer. I don't necessarily know how to write a great birthday invite. So this can be the perfect tool to help me. Again, absolutely free. We haven't logged in, we haven't created an account, but definitely this is a great tool that we could use to get started with our invite. Now, one thing I like to tell people is that the beauty of this tool is that it truly is making knowledge more accessible in the way that you can use whatever language you want, you can use whatever slang you want. You don't have to talk any particular way to interact with AI. I will say the more you know, the better, meaning if you're asking about a subject and you are an expert in that subject, you'll have better vocabulary than someone who's not an expert in that subject, and therefore you may get better, higher quality answers. But generally speaking, just about anybody can ask whatever they need from AI, and it seems to mostly understand what you're talking about. So even if you don't know what you're talking about, or if you have a typo, it can still understand what you're talking about. So let's give you an example of that here. We'll say, let's just say, hey, I'm having my 100th birthday on March 25th, and I would love to invite my friend. And again, it would still understand if I had a typo. So let's actually typo on friends. We'll say friends like that. We'll just spell it a little backwards. But let's go ahead and send that message. And before we send that message, again, maybe there's some more details that we could add here. So let's give it a thought. And, I'm not necessarily thinking of anything, so let's just go ahead and send our message. Right away, you can see how fast this thing writes, 10 times faster than I ever could, but it says, that's incredible. Congratulations on reaching such a remarkable milestone. And here's what it spit out for us. So join us in celebrating your name's 100th birthday, March 25th. It's been 100 years of wonderful memories, and we would love for you to be a part of this special day. Come raise a glass, share some stories, and make new memories to mark this incredible milestone. So, this is a pretty good start, and it also has some details for us to fill in. Now, going back to that ability to just have a conversation, I like to tell people talk to AI like you would talk to a person. And I know it sounds weird, but what I mean by that is, again, you can talk to it just like you would your friends and family, and it still understands you. And more importantly, the more information you give it, the better the response is. So you can see that in my first question here, I just said I'm having my 100th birthday and it's March 25th. I'm not logged in, so it doesn't know what my name is, and it doesn't know what time I'd like to have the party. It doesn't know the location, doesn't know the date for RSVPs. So again, I didn't give it that much information, but it did give us a pretty good start to our invite. So let's fill in the blanks here. So for time, I could be really formal and say I would like to host the party at 3:30, or I could just type 3:30 and we'll say PM just to be a little bit more clear there. So we'll say 3:30. Location, let's just say something like San Francisco. And RSV date, let's say RSVP date. So again, just to show you how intelligent this tool is, let's say that our RSVP date is going to be January 19th. Perfect. So again, I'm not giving too many more details here. I'm just giving it these 3 pieces of information, and let's go ahead and send it. Right away, you can see that it updated most of the information. I didn't give it a venue or address, so it just says San Francisco, and it looks like it didn't pick up the date correctly. So it actually did make a mistake, and rather than being frustrated with this tool, I could just say, no, I meant RSVP by Jan 19. My name is Casey. And is there anything else that we need to do? Let's say the address is 123 Easy Street. Perfect. And so it looks like it's still getting my birthday wrong. So again, one more time, my birthday is March 25th. There we go. So this highlights, again, why this tool is so powerful. Yes, it can make mistakes, but it can also correct itself. So now we have this really great invite here. Join us in celebrating Casey's 100th birthday on March 25th. The time is 3:30. The RSV date is there. So everything looks pretty good. Let's actually convert this, because what this technology is best at is translation. So that means that not only can it translate from one language to another, but it can translate from one style to another. So right now we have a pretty formal invite. Maybe I want this to be a little bit more fun. So we'll say make it more fun and turn it into a poem as well. All right. And so this time we have a nice little poem to go with our invite, or this will be our new invite. So let's read it. A century has passed, it's hard to believe. Casey's turning 100. Come celebrate, don't leave. On March 25th, let's gather with cheer to mark this milestone. We've waited a year. At 3:30, the fun will begin. At 123 Easy Street, come on in. We'll raise our glasses, tell stories with glee, and share memories of Casey through the years. Yippee. This is a pretty good invite. And again, yes, I could have probably created this myself, but would it all rhyme? Probably not. Would I have created it in less than 5 minutes? Definitely not. So this has been an immense time saver already. Now, if we wanted to keep going, we could create additional adjustments, or maybe we could even do another translation. So let's say turn this into a rap and include emojis. All right. And so this time we have a nice little rap. So I guess I will go ahead and rap this. Let's see here. Yo, 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 it's time to get hype. Casey's 100, yeah, you know it's ripe. March 25th, mark that date. We're throwing a party. You don't want to be late. That's pretty good. I think I can stop there, but you get the idea. we were able to take a pretty formal and boring invite, slowly get it to say exactly what we needed, and then from there, we even made it a lot more fun to read. So, this is something that, again, is amazing. This is something that if I hired someone to do this, it would have taken a lot longer and I would have had to pay them. Whereas now I have a free tool that will let me create infinite invites. And more importantly, would be personalization. So now I can personalize this invite for each and every single person. So let's do that one more time here. We'll say, can you make a version just for my buddy? His name is Chuck, and we've known each other for 25 years. He is an old work buddy from when I worked at the, and again, I'm supposed to be 100 years old, so I don't know what job I was doing at 75, but maybe we will say the library. We'll just keep this super simple, and we'll go ahead and send that message. And watch how it incorporates these new elements into our personalized invite just for Chuck. Here we go. All right. Yo, Chuck, my man, it's been 25 years from the library days to laughing through tears. We've seen it all from books to the grind. Now it's time to celebrate. Let's blow your mind. Look at this. This is amazing. We have something that rhymes. It's fun. It's funny. We have emojis. It feels personalized. And we could do this for each and every single attendee of our party. So at scale, this is definitely something that's really, really amazing. Now, I could do something completely different, but maybe still related to my party. Because again, the more the AI knows, the more it can help you. So now that it knows that we're having this party on March 25th and it knows all of these different details about the party, we could maybe even ask it to help plan the party. So we'll say that. One trick I will give you right now is the word please. It gets you really far with humans and it also gets you far with AI. Now, it may sound weird. Why am I asking please from a computer? And I'll give you the reason right now. Essentially, as I mentioned earlier, ChatGPT and other AI systems like it are trained on all of the information on the internet. This means that a lot of academia work has also been captured into this system. And when you ask please, you're going to get more scholarly like answers because typically that's how homework and other assignments are structured. The question may say, please fill in the blank, or please answer this question. And so when we ask please, it's much more likely that we'll get higher quality responses. Again, not a necessity, but my personal opinion is that you should ask please because it's much more likely that you'll get a better answer. So we'll start our question with please, and we will say, please create a list of things I need for this party. And, I haven't really told it too much about the party, so let's just start with that very simple question. All right, so here we go. We need invitations, we need decorations, we need food and drinks, entertainment, party favors, photo and video, special items, miscellaneous. First aid kit, that's actually really good. I would have never thought to bring a first aid kit to a party. Definitely something that is well needed at my 100th birthday party. So this looks pretty good. We have different ideas here. And again, we can iterate on this. So let's say music playlist. That seems like something that could go really well or really wrong. So let's try it out. I love the idea of a music playlist. Can you create a bulleted list of songs specific to my 100th birthday? All right, let's see what it comes up with. I have no idea what it would recommend here. Wow, 1920s, the roaring 20s, putting on the Ritz. Yeah, so that makes sense. Again, if I was 100 years old, maybe these are some of the tunes that I heard throughout my life. Oh, wow. So it's literally 100 years of tunes. That's actually really, really cool. So you get the idea here. this is bringing up things that maybe I wouldn't have thought of because, again, 1920s, I don't actually remember what happened in the 1920s, but it looks like Irving Berlin is a popular song from around that time. And in the 1930s, we had Over the Rainbow by Judy Garland. So definitely things that I wouldn't have thought of, but it really adds to the mood and personalization of the party. So this is where AI shines. It's really good at converting things. It's really good at creating lists. It's really good at iterating on things that you've given it to do. And this is a very basic example. We have so many other things we can do. I'm not too sure what we can and can't do with a free account here. So let's try something else here. We'll say, this looks good. Can you create an Excel file with all this info? All right, and it looks like we can't do that here, but it does actually give us a table view here. So this is something that we could copy and paste into Excel. Again, if you do want some of these cooler, smarter responses, you should go ahead and log in and sign up. So definitely sign up for an account. You just need to have a phone number, but once you sign up for an account, you'll have additional features that we just won't see here on the homepage where I'm not logged in. But I think this is a pretty good basic example of AI. Let's take our focus over to Gemini and we'll try something else. So that was a pretty good start here. Let's say for Gemini, we'll ask it to create a invite for my 100th birthday party. So this time we'll try creating an image. And again, we won't go too far here. I haven't really given it too many details. So maybe I'll add in my name is Casey and my birthday is March 25th. So we'll go ahead and submit that. And in just a second, we should have some type of picture that represents my 100th birthday. Again, I have no idea what we'll get here because every time you ask AI something, you're going to get a different response. So you'll never get the same answer twice. But it does look like we got Casey's 100. Let's click in here. And again, you can see that it says Casey's 100 and then it says 100th birthday party, kind of. One thing you'll notice, what we'll talk about later, is hallucinations. So you'll see this much more commonly in images than you do in text, but essentially it generated an image that looks like it's the right thing, but it definitely is missing some of the finer details. And if we zoom in here, can't zoom in, there we go. We zoom in, you'll see that this doesn't actually say anything. It looks like words. It's definitely looks like a great invite, but again, in focus, it's not necessarily the best invite. So we'll come back to that and talk about how we can mitigate hallucinations and how to use image to really generate the images that we need and some of the limitations of this technology. All right, let's go back. So I think that's a pretty good start here. We've talked about ChatGPT. We've talked a little bit about Gemini. Again, the other tools would do similar things. I think we're at a good point to stop here. Other than that, again, going back, the only other thing I would say that we could do here is maybe something like getting it to help us write a story, or maybe one of the other items on our to-do list here. So video setup, birthday cake, guest book, games and activities. We could ask it to generate some games. So let's try that and then we will wrap this up. So please create some game ideas for my birthday. And I could have also said I like number 4, make some ideas based on that. But again, I want it to be specific to the games. So let's take a look at what we got. Oh, okay, here we go. Casey's Memory Lane Trivia. Create a trivia game where you share fun facts and memories from your life. Sample questions. What was Casey's first car? What year did Casey start working at the library? And again, remember, it remembered the library from our conversation earlier about the personal invite for Chuck, and it actually incorporated that into our games here. What was Casey's favorite book as a child? Which song played on the radio the day Casey was born? That's a great question. And then we also have some prize ideas. I mean, again, if you feel like there's just something that you just can't figure out, or there's some detail about your grand plan that you might have forgotten, run it past AI. There's always small things like this that, again, yes, I thought about playing games. I didn't think about having prize ideas. So this is a great addition to my original question. And again, so many other games. 100 years in 100 seconds. That sounds super fun. But definitely, you get the idea. We can use this technology to expand on the smallest ideas that we have and turn them into really, really big ideas. So, this is just a start. I can't wait to show you a little bit more. Let's talk about 10 buzzwords that you'll hear pretty often once you start working with AI. The first one is a pretty long word, large language model, or LLM for short. This is a generative AI model like ChatGPT or Gemini that excels at producing text. So originally, when we first started getting these exciting achievements in AI, this is what we were talking about. Suddenly, you were able to talk to a large language model and get back a response in the form of text that was pretty intelligent. Now, this works by the same technology that autocorrect works. So when you look at your phone and you start to write a word and it starts to predict the word that you're typing, well, imagine that but on steroids. A large language model is able to produce the next paragraph or the next couple of paragraphs in the sentence. So again, it's predicting what would come next. And this is what started it all. Prompt. This is the input or instruction given to an AI model to generate a response. So this is going to be the sentence that you actually type in to get back an answer. Traditionally, you would think of like a programming language or maybe some other type of instructions when you talk about controlling or talking to a computer, but that's the beauty of AI. We really do just use our natural language. So English is the programming language. And again, we're using that to create prompts that generate a response that we would like to see. Context window. So this is the amount of text or data the AI can process at once. So imagine that there is a character limit on how many things that you can type in all at the same time. So, maybe instead of being able to type in an entire book and ask questions about that book, we can only really give the AI 1 or 2 or 3 pages from that book because the context window is limited to about 100,000 characters. So all AI models have a context window. It's really important to know that there is a limit, but these days the limit is pretty high. Output. This is the result produced by the AI based on a given prompt. So again, your prompt is your programming language. It's your sentence that you typed in to get exactly what you want, and the output is what you got back in return. This could be in the form of an image, text, a video, music. Outputs come in all shapes and sizes. Tokens. The pieces of text, words, or fragments that AI processes to understand prompts and generate responses. So tokens are essentially the way that AI represents the words in its memory. So again, if I send it 8,000 lines of text, it actually isn't storing all 8,000 of those characters. Instead, for efficiency, it will break it down into smaller pieces called tokens, and these tokens can represent words. So it's a little confusing at first because, again, our brains don't work like computers, but imagine that you had a system for remembering things, and maybe instead of writing down a full sentence or a paragraph, you created a sticky note that had a couple of words. So as an example, if I left my laundry at the mall for whatever reason, we could say that laundry at mall. And maybe instead of using the word at, I would use the sign, the at sign. Again, works for my brain, makes super simple, easy sense. But for the next person, they may not fully understand my message. And that's where tokens are how computers or AI systems remember what we're talking about and the context that these words are related to. Hallucination. This is when AI generates content that is convincing but is factually incorrect or completely made up. So, this is something that we always need to be careful of and aware of when we're working with AI, is that it can hallucinate. Now, hallucinations come in many shapes, forms, and sizes. So, when we're working with text, it's always important to double check the answers that you're getting from an AI, especially if it's related to math or medical information. Additionally, sometimes hallucinations can be a good thing. So, when we're creating images or video or other types of multimedia, you may get something like a person who has feet for hands, or maybe a dog that has two heads. Again, these things can be hallucinations or accidents that weren't supposed to happen, but sometimes for the sake of art, hallucinations can be good. So, again, take your hallucinations with a grain of salt and definitely be aware that you should always double check anything that you get from an AI model. Prompt engineering. This is the skill of crafting precise prompts to guide AI in generating desired responses. So earlier we defined our prompt as our instructions or the sentence that you type in to get the AI to give you what you want. And again, creating that sentence can be a skill in and of itself. So becoming better and better at writing your prompts is actually a skill that is worth working on because you'll end up with better responses. Training data. This is the information an AI model learns from to generate content. So when we talk about training data, remember that most AI models have seen just about everything on the internet. They've seen the majority of Wikipedia pages, if not all. They've seen the majority of YouTube videos. They've seen the majority of comments on social media. All of the data that has been placed on the internet was actually gathered, collected, and itemized, and again, used to train these AI models so that they could recognize what is a dog, what is a cat, what is a book, what is the sun. These are things that we couldn't just tell the AI, we had to literally show it 1 million different examples, and that way it has a better understanding of our world. Bias. This is when AI outputs reflect imbalances or prejudices present in its training data. So when we train these AI models, we try to collect as much information as possible, but some topics have more information available than others, and this can create those imbalances. As an example, if we wanted to train our AI model to identify dogs, we could give it 100 different images of dogs. However, if we went to identify a cat and we never showed it a picture of a cat, it would probably say that that cat is a dog. So the best way to beat this bias in our training data would be to provide 100 images of a dog or different dogs and 100 images of cats. This makes it much more likely that we will correctly identify dogs as dogs, cats as cats, and humans as humans. Fine tuning. This is customizing a generative AI model for specific tasks or audiences. So again, as we give our AI models different types of training data, there may be imbalances in certain areas. And on the flip side of that, if we wanted our model to be really good at something, we could create an imbalance in a specific area. So as an example, I would say things like law. Maybe laws are different in different states. So in Washington, the laws are different than California, and those laws are different than the laws in Virginia. Well, we could use a general AI model that's just generally aware of the law, and that could work pretty well. But if we really wanted to outperform the other AI models in a specific state, we could fine tune our AI model on Virginia law specifically. That way it's in tune with all the mandates and statutes specific to Virginia and not just the general law. And this applies for everything. We could fine tune an AI model to be really good at coding or really good at math or really good at writing books. It's really up to you. And this is something that you can do on your own if you have enough money that you're willing to put into fine tuning a specific AI model. And that's it for today. These are our 10 buzzwords that we'll get started with. As we go through the rest of this training, we'll learn a little bit more, but I think these will give you the understanding that you need as you learn more and more about AI.